Actually, I'll use the mute button.
Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. We're going to discuss some of the PvP balance changes and the plethora of assault escalation technology we're getting in the FM, as well as a little review of Fog of War. Let me introduce everybody from left to right. It's Magic Mike,
Hi, everybody.
Dr. Jeff,
Hello.
and Aussie.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. And yeah, I heard they changed the time. Golden Doodle actually said it on Discord. They changed the time of the FM because it was too early for the people in Australia.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it started at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was the players per se, but it's the kickside people in Australia are the best ones to fix things if there is a problem. So, so
That's a funny one. Fix something in this game, really?
well, yeah,
That
adjust.
happens?
Yeah, I guess so.
And we're going to find the golden goose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to put you on present, Dr. Death, and let's go
Alrighty.
ahead and get to the bug fixes.
I don't see any bugs in that need to be fixed.
Okay. Yeah, I ran out of rusty ones. Mega halls
I
cannot
wasn't referring to the car.
Okay. Alrighty. Mega halls cannot build the missile strike drone or rocket strike drone module. I guess that's been fixed. And the one everybody was worried about is low-level cargoes have too much health. NUX, I think, means new user experience. And I have noticed people talking about it, and I've even noticed in my own sector that there's more new bases around. I'm not sure if this is related to some sort of cross-marketing with the new Castle and Kissing game that they're proposed. They might be doing something and they're coming from there. I am not certain. It's only a guess. So I guess that's been fixed. The next one, I'm not quite certain. Each prize pop-up from pairs well with in an event or FM has to be closed individually. I guess I didn't keep on trying to figure out what goes well with which to create multiple windows, but I guess that's been fixed. I thought this one's been fixed for a while. Use VXP token is enabled while VX tokens are why you don't have any. So I guess that's been fixed.
That's been fixed for a while.
Yeah, sometimes they come back. So, alrighty. Fog of War, in case anybody would like to discuss their experiences with the Fog of War, which is our last raid, first raid in the assault cycle. I have my thoughts on it, especially as it relates to how they what's the word I want to use?
Screwed us?
Careful, we're live.
Yes. Well, basically the locking mechanism that required you basically to have both fleets in order to unlock the unlock tier 8. I was not a huge fan of that. But as far as the raid went, I didn't mind most of it, but we'll get into more. I'll let everybody else talk on, and then I'll see what else that I might need to add.
Well, my opinion, the slap in the face that we got after we saw Chris's, speeches about what Kixeye was doing with this raid, and the fact that you needed to have really both fleets, you know what I mean, to really be at the top competitive level. I mean, one thing I could understand, the first raid of the series should have been able to do both targets with one fleet. Either fleet, you should have been able to do both targets the same with one fleet. You know what I mean? So people who coined that one fleet got a reward for coining and having that fleet done. But do we expect them to coin 2 whole fleets by the first raid? You know, the greed is just getting outstanding here. This is just stupidity. I know they got a couple players that did it, but only a couple. And then it backfired on them because look at all the shit they had to throw at us to try and get people to do the stupid raid. I consider this raid, this past raid ranks up there with the first Scourge raid.
Yeah, I think there was. I don't know. They got the survey information. My guess it was two different reasons. In the previous raid cycle, we had one additional week to get ready. I think the build times were sort of comparable, but we had an additional week to get ready. So I think that might have been one. They didn't feel ready to do it. I think the second thing was what I brought up originally was the fact that everything was locked at the beginning. Pretty much anything you wanted was locked. Personally, for me, I had to get 4.5 million to start getting anything I wanted. I had to get the Rock Ring Saturn before I could get anything.
And are you ever going to build it?
No, I have no plans to build it. So, yeah, I mean that's the first time they've done that, where they've basically in the prize store, which is more of a product thing than the game developers or the other people, how they're in charge of structuring that is how they. Didn't really announce this because I could have got that thing in Pillage or one of those events pretty easily, as I recall. I just ended up spending it on like Hyper 30s and MSDS 3s because I'm never building that thing. I don't need it because they never required us to unlock both halls for a cycle.
And then another problem that they didn't learn from. Another problem I saw this raid that they did not learn from, not last raid series, but the raid series before that, they got all kinds of negative feedback from the players because it took too long to kill a target, and players didn't want that. We want to be in and out in less than 5 minutes so that we can get on to the next target and we can stack our points up. But these targets, with you having to bait the ships up near the clouds and, all the stuff you had to do, made these targets take a long time to kill.
I think you had the Saturn, right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And so, when you're running a target 8 to 10 minutes a target, you know what I mean? That really starts to chew up your, now you're putting seat time and coin on me. You know what I mean? You're expecting me to coin repairs, and you're expecting me to put in the seat time for grinding. Okay. And that's just another aspect that they've already found out in the past the players don't accept, and they already went away from it once, so why the freak did they bring it back?
Assault is normally sort of been this way, where you got to go wake them up and then run from them. And it takes a lot of time if you try to do it with any efficiency. If you think about all the drones with the Skyfire Phoenix, and then all the ships that were going on with the Manticores and all the Manticore issues, Assault has always been a long target, and I don't know what the fix is until they come up with some sort of strategy that's like, we don't, you wake them up, you run from them, you go back, because you spend a lot of time going back and forth on the map. Maybe making our ships faster, but that makes it probably a harder to drive because there is amount of accurate and finesse driving that you need to do, at least with the Nemesis. I have the Nemesis. I'm not quite as familiar with the Saturn. And
right, it was. They're slow and a lot of driving back and forth. But see, what they could have done is they could have simply, you know what I mean, pulled 1 or 2 of those fleets out and just put more turrets in. You know what I mean? So we go in, we pull out those 2. Say we got 2 fleets in there, we knock them out real quick, and then we go smash turrets. You know what I mean? That would still cut that target time down by half. There were people complaining that they couldn't get the target done before the timer expired. They were having to go back in a second time.
I never ran into that issue, but I did run into the issue where it was taking me, 8 minutes to kill a target.
I didn't run into that issue either, but I do know some players that were complaining about it in my sector, and it was just like, okay, it was efficient. Yeah, they said that they were getting it for lower damage, but the fact that you're spending that much time on just one target for that little amount of points, you know what I mean? I don't want my raid to be longer, especially not when it's a crappy raid. When I'm already pissed off because of the prize store, and I'm pissed off because of them expecting 2 fleets and them just trying to squeeze my balls left and right. You don't want me sitting in front of the computer getting madder,
Yeah, well, why you're getting manipulated in such a manner. Cannon Fodder, how was your raid? Was anybody manipulating your balls?
No, sadly there was none of that. It was
Okay.
mostly, I mean, the seat, I suppose. The amount of seat time, I guess the office chair was manipulating.
It might have been helpful.
Yeah, somewhat. Thankfully, it's
Blood circulation.
very very ergonomic, so it's okay. But no, the raid was. I mean, unfortunately, it required me getting the stupid deal. It was too good to pass up, even though I didn't want to do it. And even then, I noticed on the lower targets, it made absolutely no difference in damage. Like none.
What hull did you have?
The Saturn.
Okay.
I use the Saturn because, again, I mean, pretty much invariably, if it says, auto-ish versus driving, I'm going to go that route just because of various reasons. But
I just wanted to clarify so people knew.
No, sure, sorry.
No
but but I was, and originally I was able only to do the 60s. I literally could not even try the 80s. They just demolished my fleet. I didn't even try 100 at all. Because I knew if I couldn't do the 80, there's, snowball's chance and, HE double hockey sticks to do the other. So, but when I updated the fleet, I had everything but the flag completely done. And no upgrades or nothing, but everything else done and ranked and everything, and it made no difference on the lower targets. I was kind of shocked by that. I'm like, what sort of shenanigans is this? I figured it would at least go down, but it literally had no difference. I thought that was weird.
Probably because you're taking more splash because you're Saturns? Yeah.
I mean, well, and I'm not autoing them because of the same reason with the new change in splash damage. I know that I'm taking even more damage than I should. Just from sitting still a little bit, and also it messed up the target when you tried to do that. But even then, I was just, like I said, I was kind of surprised by that. With more armor, with not added repair time, but should be more survivability. It had no difference as far as damage. But I could.
Wait. Let me clarify. I misunderstood. You added armor. You didn't add a ship.
Yes.
Okay.
I added both.
Okay, I caught the ship part.
Sorry.
The armor part has been widely discussed.
Yeah.
It's been brought to Kixeye several times. They say they're investigating it. A lot of players were having the issue with. I have 2 ships with armor, 2 ships with no armor, and they're taking the same amount of damage.
Yeah.
And we have not got a reply on that. Which is a little bit worrisome considering they told us this was the target where this new defense rating system was supposed to be built around, and this is not a retrofit to the new system.
Yeah, sure.
And this is supposed to be how it works, and that's worrisome because it didn't appear to work.
We don't need any more doubt in the mechanics of the system.
Well, that's the thing, though. The player, it wasn't just people like you who added extra armor panels, right? But there were people like me. When I started the raid out, I had 2 armor panels on, and I across the fleet, right? Yeah. So it wasn't 2 ships to where they could say, well, they were just targeting those 2 ships. Sure. You know what I mean? Sure. And but so then I took and I coined out and I coined. An hour after the raid started, I'm like, I'm taking too much damage. I coined out, put the armor, all 4 panels now sitting on the fleet. The whole fleet's done, and went back in the target and still took the exact same amount of damage, even though I added that armor.
I went from 3 ships to 5 ships. I went from 3 ships that weren't fully armored. They only had 2 armor. So once I got the deal, I was able to finish out my other, my 4th ship and break out the flag. So I went from no flag, 3 ships half armored to other than the flag, everything, and I took exactly the same damage. I'm like, well, this is just ridiculous. So,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
I could do 100s then. So I was like, well, I guess that's better. So
Now, see, I was able to do the 100s with just 4 Saturns. I didn't need the flag.
yeah, but you couldn't do them with 3 with 2 armors on them. So I mean, you could.
Couldn't
if you
do them
like
with 4. Well, yeah, I could do them with 4 with 2 armors, but I mean, it was just the damage was at that set level, and I
Yeah,
couldn't
too
get
much.
it. I couldn't. Nothing I did. I even then turned around and coined and upgraded the fleet. So
Yeah,
they all went
I did that too on
a
one.
level and upgrade, which I figured,
Yeah.
okay, that's more damage. It'll kill the target faster,
I
right?
did.
No,
I
it
did
still
one.
took the same
yeah.
damage. Still took the same damage. I could not change anything on my ships to reduce the damage.
Okay. Yeah, James is basically repeating what you guys are agreeing with you. He ran 3 ships with 1 plate, then ran 3 ships with 4, and got the exact same amount of damage. The only issue with that is the timing of when they de-escalated, and he had Saturns when they reduced the damage inside the targets.
It
That's
went down
why
and then back up. I don't know.
Did they?
Did you experience that? Because it
I
went
had
down.
I had
I think
Nemesis. I had the Nemesis.
Okay,
and
right
so
on.
I ran into a very different experience.
Yeah, I bet.
Than I think the Saturn players did.
Yeah, the NEM players had it a lot better.
Yeah, I didn't bother to do the 100s.
Sure.
I was doing the 280s, and I didn't change my armors. I still had 3 on each one. By the time I got sort of good at it, I was getting the 81. I got it all the way down to 2 minutes and 8 seconds, so instant repair on the map.
Nice.
But quite often I was instant repair on the map with that one. The 83, as long as I didn't screw up at all, I had like 7 or 8 minutes of damage, so it was instant breakdown in the take 2 ships out,
Oh yeah.
and then so the actual targets themselves weren't that difficult to me. They took a good amount of time, like I said before, especially the 83. And the issue I ran into was that they took so much time. I was still getting 220,000 as opposed to 250 for the 102. So I'm like, okay, I don't have the flag, so I'll do it this way. I ended up, I skipped the first day, but I ended up with a little over 6 million. I was 95th in my sector.
Yeah.
As far as points go.
Yeah,
and that's a whole different issue.
You was in a real busy sector, though.
Yeah, I was in a real busy sector, but 6 million. I was asked to get 4.5 to unlock the store, so I would have been. I mean, I wasn't hitting it as hard as everybody else was, but I'm thinking with those sort of numbers, I should be succeeding in the raid, right? As far as instant on the map and instant breakdown, I should hit me. I mean, I wasn't hitting the 60s; I was hitting the 80s.
Sure.
I think my points to prize, especially without locking, should have been better. But I found that to be a problem as far as, a lot of it was my sector. But as far as getting the prizes, if I was, if I would have claimed the 4.5 million to open up the unlock store, I would have been left with 1.5 million or 1.5 million left to spend.
Yeah.
Which is not much. It would have been all on this rock ring Saturn, which I'm never going to build. But I think the points were off. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I kind of interrupted too, but I got lucky because I happened to not have picked up the Nemesis. So I had skipped that, whatever it was, or just didn't bother with during the event or whatever. I'm like, I'm never going to build it. I'm not getting it. So I almost got it thinking it would save me in the raid. I'm like, that should save me in the raid. I might get that, that way I don't have to get it during the raid. Mm-hmm. But I was very thankful I didn't, because that saved me 2.5 million. And all I wanted was tokens. All I wanted was the upgrade kits and the tokens. I'm like, I'm not even bothering. Which was funny considering I play auto on PvE. I didn't want a ship that drove itself. I'm like, no, I don't like that, and that just seems like something that's going to take too much damage. So I didn't want it. So I'm like, I'm skipping all that. I'll just focus on being ready for next raid. So
Okay.
I'm slowly becoming a PvE player. It's depressing.
Steve, you gotta go to group counseling for that.
I might. Are you starting one?
Well, I think this is sort of what this is, but yeah.
There you go.
Snoopy mentions that he's drives Saturns, I know, and his MSDS3 didn't shoot down.
No, shit. Shoot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And they don't have the buffs built in,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I'm not a Saturn driver, so I'll leave it up to you guys that are.
I was fairly certain I didn't even need them at one point. It did shoot down some of the ship ones here and there, but as far as the land-based ones, it didn't even fire at them. It didn't do anything. So I was kind of questioning whether I needed them, but then I decided, well, what else am I going to put on them? Because I can't fit more weapons because they're a lot heavier. So I guess I'll just leave them. They're already there. Whatever.
Yeah. That's the same boat I'm in.
Yeah, when I was hitting the 80s, I was watching my retreat button on the land-based missile turrets, and it was it was shooting down somewhere between, or shooting down, or I was running the Sea Serpents crew.
Okay.
It was either shooting down or missing me somewhere between a third and a half the time, and I don't have the flag, and the flag allows you to increase your anti-missile accuracy by 20%. So it was like between a third and a half were getting shot down. So it's not great.
No.
But it's a worse situation with the Saturns, I know.
Yeah. See,
You
I
just couldn't shoot those green ones down. They were the main ones.
The green ones that came from the stonefish?
Yeah.
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 You didn't shoot them down.
Yeah, they didn't shoot down either. No, they shot from the other side of the map.
I mean, you could see, like, mine were firing at it, but no. They all
Really, the only thing I saw my ships shooting down were from them little bitty scout ships.
No, they didn't shoot them down. They tried to.
The Vipers?
The Vipers.
They
That was the only thing I'd get a successful shot at.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. Nothing else in the target would I even fire on.
Okay.
No. Yeah,
and
for me, it's the same way.
Yeah, and I want to clarify this. I was seeing the fact that normally, way back when, I can't remember the last time I was really looking at countermeasures that closely, but it appeared that it would only fire if it was going to hit it, right? You would only see the graphical little yellow line pop out if it was going to hit and kill the incoming missile. Otherwise, it didn't even bother to show the graphic. Or is that some setting I have? Did anybody else notice that?
But see, the thing was, I could see my antis firing at the little scout ships.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they'd shoot down maybe one missile out of the bunch coming towards me.
Okay.
But I couldn't see it shooting at all on anything else.
Okay.
So if it was a graphics issue, then shouldn't it have been a graphics issue for each type of, missile coming in?
Well, like I said, a lot of those times when it was the longer range missiles, I was looking at the retreat button. But in that situation, most likely with the Viperfish, well, not with the Saturns, because there's a range difference there. Because I look for the retreat button to see if I got hit when I'm not firing is one way to indicate if my antis are working or my evade is working or something where they're firing at me but missing me.
Yeah, see, I couldn't do that with the Saturn because I was always in range when they were firing at me.
No, they have longer range than you, though. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but what I'm saying is if they fire, they got a longer range than you. There's a period of time when they're firing at you and you're not firing at them. And so at that point, you could look up at the retreat button. If the retreat button is full, that means you didn't get hit. So it's easy. It's actually easier with the Saturns than with the Nemesis because the Nemesis, there's a very thin barrier between them firing at you and you firing at them, except for the turret-based ones. So
I don't know. I was very disappointed in the performance of the fleet.
okay. Aussie, have you had your say on this?
I cheated. I used
Okay.
my Cadies.
Okay, that's right. You used your Katie's in the 60s?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cadies and 2 Nemis, and just autoed 60s all day long. Oh, first I didn't play because I wasn't well.
Mhm.
So I played the rest of them. Rest of the day is just hammering 60s, going out less than 5 minutes damage every time. So I was watching TV and playing the game at the same time.
Okay. And Mike, you did some similar mixed in with hitting some 80s, right?
Yeah, you successfully taught me how to do the 80s, but
Mhm.
my execution wasn't the greatest. I really think I needed a little more speed.
Mhm.
That wasn't my problem. My problem was skill, but I think a little more speed might have been helped me a little bit, and maybe just a mile or two. I mean, not a whole lot because I was just on the edge of the range and getting nipped as I was running. But yeah, and during repair times, I would use my Manties and my Cadies and do those for 90% of the time instant on the map. I never thought to use anemones and the Cadies, but didn't need to. But
Mm.
I did spend a lot of seat time. I didn't spend any coin on repairs. Did buy the stupid too hard to pass up offer. Um, and ended up with I think just over 10 million points, but I played a lot.
Okay.
I had a power outage, so I missed a half a day, and on one day, and I missed a few hours on another. But otherwise, I was full time on when I was up.
Okay.
Did you say you were hitting the 80s or the 60s with your
I'm sorry, I was
Cadies?
hitting the 60s with my Cadies.
What
If I said 80s,
you were
I was
you were
wrong.
better off using your manis anyway, because if you had used, or did it give you a
The Katie's gave him the hit down.
With the
okay, so
Cadies, I only got half.
you were screwed anyway. Okay, I
Well,
didn't
yeah, I
know.
was going for the 40
I
bonus.
still only have 3 shards of a Katie, so
Okay.
I built that a long time ago. Just to
no, it's
and
obviously it's
that
paying
has
off. That's
been
good
that's been a good. It was a good move.
for sure.
But I don't know. It has its drawbacks. I'm done.
Well, I
Okay.
didn't build it because I have no faith in them. So I figured for sure it would be useless. And now every time I think of it, I'm like, yeah, by the time I build it, it'll be useless. So
Yeah, well, it's worked both times in
20
both raids.
2020
It's
is the
worked
year.
both times very well.
There was
Well, it's
one
good.
event or something where it would have been nice to have been able to use it, but couldn't, and I can't for the life of me remember which one that was. So
Well, I know the last raid cycle
it's
we
a
could use
material.
them.
Yeah, all good.
So
Okay. Bullywhiff asks, so to refit countermeasures. I can't recall if he's a Saturn person or a Nemesis person. Personally, I right once we learned that they reinstated the refit tax, I spent that time taking all the MSDS threes um, off of my normal NEMA X's to do it for free, as opposed to spending a couple of hours doing it. So because I am refitting mine, I'm putting them all. I'm putting 6 on the flag, and not gonna. I'm gonna add another. I'll add another missile to my normal ones, but I'm not running them because of the lower accuracy associated with them, and the mechanism associated with any sort of anti-missile where it only fires at them once, and if it misses, it misses. Then it's going to either hit you or get evaded. It's not like the mortars, so that's what I've done. But you don't have that same sort of opportunity with the Saturn, which I see that
No.
he does have, because you have a maximum of 2 per ship, and there's not a anti-missile accuracy bonus associated with
Well,
the Saturn.
and you have a weight issue as well. Like you would your ships you took them off of wouldn't benefit unless you put some other scatter gun on there maybe, but you can't put another whatever
Weapon
they're
on.
called.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't
Calypso.
put one more.
Not one more, no. Even if you take off
Okay.
both, you go over by like 1,500 pounds or tons.
Yep.
So
Okay. This
But-
is even after they made the change
Yes.
to the battery. Okay.
when they
Okay.
dropped it, even after they dropped it down, that's the only reason I was able to put 4 armors on there, because they dropped it back from 25 to 24 for your total weight.
Yeah, the Saturn's not a good hole. It
Which-
really isn't.
That alone, I mean, how do you release something that's made for the ship that's coming, and then not notice that? Oh wait, now I can't fit. Like it drives me crazy.
Yeah, we should at least be able to put the base weapon on the ship and fill it up.
Well, that too.
Well,
I think it's a fair option. Should be.
yeah.
I understand
well,
some strategy, but I mean,
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
all but one. How about that? Because I can't do that
Yeah,
you
you
know.
can do that on the. You can do that
on the Nemesis. Yeah.
on the Nemesis. Yeah.
Yeah, the NIM was definitely the better hull. It performed better in the raid. In both targets, the target for the Saturn and the target for the NIM outperformed the Saturn in both targets. Which that right there is just poor design. You know what I mean? And then you also the weight's messed up on it. What it can hold is messed up, and then the counters on it don't work properly. And yet it's the ship that needs the counters the more because it's the short range ship. It's got to run into that crap.
Yeah.
Do you have anything at U2 yet, Dr. Death?
No,
No, because I was curious. I'm assuming, and it better be built in, because if that thing has weight, I have no room for it.
No,
so
it's been said by Wrong Thinker that it has
Okay.
zero weight
yeah,
and zero refit time as well.
okay.
And
I sort of assumed the
Okay.
worst first. So
yeah, and and what I said on the Friday show, the difference between they like to talk about driving style, but what I've really seen it's a difference in coining style
Yeah.
between the two hulls, and that's more what I've seen. And this didn't disappoint from what I can tell at this point. So, but it may come in handy more with the TLCs where you got seven things in an hour. It seems like the Saturn might be able to get things accomplished quicker than.
we can't. No. If they drop a TLC that's got 7 things that has to be done in an hour, they can kiss my fucking ass. I don't give a shit if they put fucking million gold in that damn TLC. It's not going to fucking happen because not when you're doing 10 minutes to kill one target.
Yeah.
my
Well,
biggest issue is that 102 is going to be damage prohibitive for me to even do it. I'm not coining to do them. So usually I'll spend almost what it would take just to buy the stupid thing, and I'm like, this is just insulting.
yeah. Yeah. I think we can move on. I think we got some other things, and then we'll get to the F. No, wrong way. We got
Wrong
some
thinking.
tuning, and then we'll get to a lot of the assault escalation, like how we would adjust our ships. But this is more PVE at this point.
I don't think this should be called tuning.
Well, I just put tuning because it was left up from last week. So
They need to call this
that's not
nerfing.
Yeah, well, depends on which side of the coin you're on. But I had tuning up from last week from something else they did, so I decided it worked. Breacher countermeasures. The accuracy has been decreased from 150 to 65. The accuracy bonus for being stationary still applies, which adds 30%. So that takes the base up to 84.5. And I forget, as I recall, I've never put a countermeasure special on the breacher just because it didn't need one at 150%. But those do apply, as I recall, right? They haven't changed that. Okay, so you could probably get it back up close to 100, or 84.5 times what, like 30? So now you're up to, well, it's over 100. So it'll hit the ones that don't have a flak evade or things that are missile evade or whatever they talk about. So it's it changes a lot of people's builds. I'm not sure it talked about compensation packages. I'm not sure. I've only seen one person mention their package on Discord, and they got 150 gold. So, has anybody else received anybody
Nope.
else received a package?
Nope.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I hadn't spent. I hadn't spent. You know, it's only people that spent gold, not tokens, not time.
Well, no, it was only people that spent gold in the last 30 days
Okay.
on
Yeah.
those specific ships. Now,
Yeah.
the people that had already spent gold building those ships before that just got screwed.
Okay. So, yeah. So that's the way it is. I didn't do it. I'm just reporting the news. The Thunderlord. The pressure created by the Thunderlord against ships attempting to stay at long range is correct, but the pressure it creates on ships attempting to engage with a base directly is a bit more than we'd like. The minimum range has been pushed out, and the projectiles travel slightly slower now. For people that don't have a Thunderlord equipped, the rad OP gun has a range of 315, so it gives you a rough estimate as far as placing if you're thinking about putting the Thunderlord on. You need to look at placement a lot at 300. Okay, we lost. Okay, Dr. Death is Mike. Are you ready?
I'll be in a second.
Okay, I think we've semi lost Dr. Death.
Sound like Max Headroom there.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you, but it appears you don't have enough bandwidth to support. There we go.
You back?
Now you're back.
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty. And also the projectiles travel slowly, so it's just a nerf across the board as far as what happened to the Thunderlord mortar.
Yeah. Now when you're covering a space of a full land tile.
Yeah, you're having some issues.
Well,
Mike, are you ready?
Yeah, my Google Chrome is not responding. Hold on.
Okay. Well,
We're having issues all around.
okay. Well, I'm gonna. Yeah, Dr. Death, something's interfering with your bandwidth. So I'm going to move on to the Tempest. The Tempest is a little stronger than we intended it to be. And the community has been pretty vocal about that and how much they dislike that. We're bringing it in line. They did not announce the first nerf. Originally, the Tempest base damage was 2 million. And then they had what we talked about a couple weeks ago when they got rid of the false doubling of damage. And when they got rid of the false doubling of damage, they should have gone from 2 million down to 1 million.
Okay.
Instead, they went to 800,000.
Funny.
And then they decided to nerf it again to 600,000. So it's actually gone from 1 million down to 600,000, not from 800 to 600,000. So it's been nerfed and nerfed again. And it's, they assume that the radioactive isotopes and all the damage boosts do not reflect in the stat block, that's just visual. According to Chris, it's, but we're not certain that that's working that way. So, because a lot of people are like, it's just turned to crap at this point. The shockwave damage has remained the same, but as you can see, the accuracy has increased from 80 to 70%. I'm a little bit tempted, if anybody tells me that the damage increase isn't working, to slap on atomic focus and get rid of radioactive isotopes. So, I don't know. So I'm trying to figure out
Okay.
what's going on here because the slide is not showing. And Mike,
You
you
can
got
put
the
me on.
slides?
Yeah, I'm loading them. Well, it says loading.
Okay. And Dr. Death. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still here. Am I? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you a little bit.
Slide not loading.
I'm just trying to get the slides up for, yeah.
I'm trying. Present.
Okay, Dr. Death is back up now.
I'm up now too, so I'll just leave it up. And if you
Okay,
need to
I'll
switch
go with you
over,
because, Dr. Death is having, he should probably
okay,
stop doing it so we can keep his voice.
okay.
Okay. Not eat up any more of his bandwidth. Let's go on to the next slide then.
Tuning.
Well, I'm sorry. I was so frazzled by the whole thing. Does anybody have any comments on this? I was just trying to get the slides up.
It's a nerf. I mean,
Yeah.
they can say tuning all they want, but the bottom line is it's just a nerf.
I'd still like to find
Yeah,
out what half
but it
of
was
2 million. Half of 2 million is apparently 800,000 now.
it depends on your tax bracket.
I guess.
Kick
Really?
math. It's kick math now. You can't
Jeez.
question it.
I mean, it's hard enough to get people to understand that it's always been this way. You know what I mean? And just okay, fine. But then when the numbers don't add up at all, you're like, wait a minute. And where else? Again, my biggest issue has been for a while is, it's not just a trust thing, but it's as what I'm seeing, what's actually happening. Because I can't make decisions based on what might be and what could be, what should be. It drives me crazy. So it stops being a strategy game and more of just I show up and talk to my friends.
Yeah.
And then blow some stuff up, whatever. So that's my biggest issue really with all of it. I don't get too bent out of shape about they changed this, they did that. They've always done that. They've done that for 5 years, 6 years. Once they realized people would pay to change, well, fine. We're the victims of our own, idiocy. That part I don't care as long as what you're saying now is what's actually happening. That would be nice.
Yeah, and we've had the it's. You're talking about more the fact that the blueprints reflect what's happening as opposed to what
just
shows
all
up
around.
in the forum. Yeah,
it's just all around, really. That's all. I don't want to get into a gripe about it, but it's more of we're left guessing about so much, and much like what you were saying with the radioactive isotopes and all that, it's a visual error, okay, but that's kind of an important thing, if I put something on, there you go, see, it's there, do something about it,
But
something.
Despite the fact that a lot of high-end players have been in the game for a long time in PvE, they don't think it's working, and that's and when the report comes, it only has one line from the community manager in Discord saying, "Oh, it's apparently just a graphical issue." That doesn't make me certain that that's the situation.
Hang on. I would call a graphic issue where only half a ship shows up.
Yeah, me too.
Not numbers. The numbers are there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If it's a graphical issue, half the number might be there, and you might go, okay, is that a 3 or is that an 8?
Or it'd be in Roman numerals.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it a 3 or an 8? Because only you can't tell because half it's missing. Right? If it's got full number, it's not a graphical issue. It's they haven't calculated it properly. They haven't punched the numbers in. They haven't done it.
Yeah. What they're trying to say is what displayed in the stat blocks is not the sum of all your parts, and I'm not going to defend it. It's just
But it should be.
going on
How
for a
hard
while.
can it be?
It's not my, it's above my pay grade, as they like to say.
Yeah. So we'll never know. So
yeah. There could be, specific testing on it. But like I said before, I would be tempted to go with the atomic focus because that rate increases your accuracy way up there. And they haven't, as at least to what it shows on
Oh,
the blueprint,
they haven't
they
broken
haven't
yet.
messed with the shockwave damage.
Okay.
So
I thought maybe
all
they
right,
haven't fixed it.
yeah. So
So-
let's go on. Piranha depth charge correctly deal damage to submerged targets. I never put it on, but I guess it wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't use it.
Yeah. The death rattle rockets. Didn't they go through a couple lives where they didn't work at all, and then they were just shooting everything down with one shot?
Yeah.
And now there's, I guess this occurred at the point in time when they changed splash damage reduction, but a lot of the things they were shooting down were structures, and that left me a little bit curious because I remember it, 3 or 4 years ago, walls and certain things said they would stop splash. And so I'm wondering if the walls actually had at some point some of like the first beginnings of splash damage reduction built into them. And some of the structures had splash damage reduction built into them that was never shown anywhere. But that's just a guess. I'm just why things change so radically and why they need to make this change now.
No idea.
Okay. Alrighty.
Reasons.
Saga's Pride. Anybody still using it? I'm sure people are using it in specialty ways,
No,
but I don't know enough to talk about it.
I'm not using it.
Okay. Maybe some other people aren't allowed to talk about using it. So let's go on.
But I don't do any of those things. I don't go back into kick size past. Let me look at a ship from 7 years ago and see if I can duct tape it to another ship. And goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So,
Now this the
and
Saga
another,
Pride, is that the one that had the ability to spot subs? No.
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 Okay.
It's just-
King's Writ. I saw people talking about builds with King's Writs in their guard, so I guess
Yeah.
that's why they nerfed them. The Harlequ's Revenge and Revenge, same sort of issue. They were using it to exceed deflection because of these big bonuses and more recent weapons.
lack of foresight. That's what this is.
Well, they changed everything else at that point in
Yeah.
time with the refactor, but
Yeah.
lack of foresight or a lack of what's the opposite of foresight? History? I don't know.
Yeah.
Historical knowledge. So
Maybe.
let's go on, I guess.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. We've also seen the Siege Retrofit Tier 8 get into this. The Tier 8 Siege get into the Retrofit Lab. The interesting one I found in here is high velocity rounds came down at the bottom. Came out with the Cannoneer. And if you look at your blueprint now, is now Tier 8.
It's improved itself.
Yeah. I mean, wow. We released that way too early.
It's been doing sit-ups and
In the
bench
gym.
pressing, and it's been hitting the gym hard.
Yeah, they haven't changed the stats, but it has gone from probably like Tier 5 up to Tier 8. In the last couple weeks, I assume. I'm not sure, but now it's included in there. Each one of these groupings, these 3 groupings, upgrades all of the weapons or specials below them. They're all 1% increases. And they are not cheap. One more click, Mike. So each level is 3 days.
Well, now do we know
And
each level, or is this just the first level?
Well, first rank up to rank 10 is from 0 to 1 is 3 days. It's 80,000 uranium. As we know, the uranium costs continue to increase as they
And
move on.
so does the time to do it increase
No,
on
the
all the other
time has
ones.
not increased. It's the uranium costs that go. The resource costs go up because everything else was 1 day as far as your retrofit lab goes. You might see different things in other research labs, but the retrofit lab historically has always been 1 day. So having a 3 day thing, maybe it's going to be 48 days to get to from 9 to 10. I have no idea. But
What-
historically, the
1 to 2.
retrofit lab has been consistently time wise from 0 to 10.
I can tell you 1 to 2 was also 3 days and
Okay.
80,000 uranium. So I can't tell you past that. I got 2 days left on this one. But
So 90 days worth of retrofits to do all 3 groups.
Yeah, but it's
it's kind of a background thing. I mean, uranium isn't hard to get with bat rays. So I'm not super stressed about this one. I mean, it's not, I was just thankful it wasn't considered an upgrade. Because that's
Well,
what I
no, this
figured.
is considered an upgrade because if you read
Well,
their post,
no.
they
it's a
released
literal.
this.
it's a retrofit, which is a different.
A literal upgrade, like
Right,
a
but they said
shipyard time.
this is to reduce repair times. This will help to reduce repair times. This
Where
is
did it
not
say
going to help to reduce repair times.
Well,
Yeah,
main reason I'm even doing it is to get more damage to have an easier time with the SSRBs. That's really the only reason I'm bothered. Like, that's it, because it's just slow and painful. So I started with the siege fortifications to try to help with that. But to me, like this, it's not quick, it's not great, it's whatever. But I don't know. I find it kind of a non-issue because I've needed something to research for forever in my retrofit lab. So great. I mean, normally they do something.
it brings it back.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. It's not gonna make anybody's. If you have important stuff, if you're
Yeah.
haven't spent much time in your retrofit lab,
Sure.
I wouldn't jump to this stuff
No.
because it's of lower value relative to time and resources than the older stuff.
I consider this a non-issue myself too, but what I'm
Yeah.
saying is they should not have tried to promote this as something that's going to save repair cost.
Yeah.
I saw that with the upgrade kits, but I never saw them with. I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think it's different animal.
I can't stomach most of what they write anyway, so I don't really tend to read it. So it's whatever. It's always gobbledygook and lawyer speak. So I'm like, whatever.
Let's
Because
because after an hour I need to go get a beer. So let's move
True.
on. Yeah.
Chop.
The XP weekend, same
Yay.
stuff. Starts Friday,
I like that, Mike.
and we'll talk about it on Friday. I'm assuming it's the same. If you have a Conqueror Hall and you know how to do these targets at all, it's a walk in the park. At least it was.
Now it won't
last
be.
XP. Why?
No, because they specifically stated you can no longer launch a fleet that is both Conqueror and
Oh, that's
PvE.
right. That's right.
You cannot use a
right.
Conqueror to tank for your PvE ships anymore.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to make things interesting. But I still think what I'm trying to rank is my it's the flag for my Nemesis.
that's the only thing I'm going to have.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm going to have besides some Conquerors separately. But that's now that I know how to do these targets, that shouldn't be an issue. As far as using it, I'll use it as the. Well, actually, the other ones are going to do the damage, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be tricky. But I'm saying we'll talk about it on Friday after everybody's had a shot at it. So
that was one of my favorite parts about that deal is I was able to skull my flag without even doing anything. So it's
Now,
like,
does
yay! I
that
don't
give
have
you
to do
enough
anything.
to skull a flag?
I sculled my flag, yes.
Because I bought that deal too, so then maybe you don't even have to do this stupid thing.
You shouldn't. I didn't. I sculled it with just what I had, and who knows where I got them all from? They could have all come from that deal. I don't pay that much
the
attention
deal
to it.
did not have the flag in it.
Well, where did I get them from?
Pillage or something?
How would I have done that?
There
I
were
didn't even have-
tokens in
Some
pillage.
drunken
Oh.
moment where you're doing
No,
pillage.
I
I
don't.
don't
But I don't
In
drink. That's the sad
pillage,
part.
know.
in
Well,
pillage
okay,
you could get
well, you know.
Oh, was it from pillage? Okay.
Not since
yeah,
they
in pillage
invented
you
the
could get
funnel.
10. You had to use 5 and then
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
other 5 because you could only hold 5.
I don't know. I had enough.
I
So
might have got
sorry,
five.
sorry, Mike.
No, that's
may have
okay. I might have
got your
got the
hopes
five.
up.
I might have got the 5, so I might be halfway there.
Okay.
Hey, that's closer than you were.
Yeah. Okay. I can't
All
look
right,
because I'm
let's
presenting.
move on.
Moving on.
to our-
Moving
Okay.
on.
let's move on.
Moving on.
All right.
Please,
Okay. I want to cover some of the issues
Finally
with
got a
the
piece of
FM in general. There's
Yeah.
there's
Go ahead.
two issues. Number one, the 120. What they were they were saying they were going to pull this for this upcoming month. They brought that back. And during the uprise in Discord, I asked Chris. I didn't put my question in there because there was people in between. I'm like, why are you making this change now? Because in 2 months we're going to be transitioning from garrison to assault.
Oops, sorry.
Why are we making this change? Why don't we make this change now? Because that's what we heard at the end of January, is that this current raid cycle is going to be our FM fleet. And his response is that change may not be taking place. It's still unclear at this time. They are focused on other things. So it would have been nice if they weren't going to take this action to let us know, because this happened the end of January when this announcement was made. If it was early February, late February, now we're mid to late April. Not happy with this because I'm actually building based on what we were told in January.
Yeah, why let you know? I mean, takes all the fun out of the game.
Yes.
Oh,
all right.
I was happy. Are we talking about? No, we're talking about armor. Okay, we're not talking FM. Go ahead.
I will say something that's
if you want
helped.
to talk FM, I can get another beer. You guys talk FM.
Just
and this
real.
whole thing, and
Well,
I'll
okay,
be
go
back-
ahead and get your
I'll be
beer.
back
Just
in a couple
real
minutes, and we
quick.
can talk about the special.
Real quick, I was pretty happy that they put the FM, what seemed to be like prior to when they stuffed us with the change. And you can go in and prep with the subs now, or at least you could before I started sharing. But I'm the guy that picks the stupid target apart because I'm damage averse and I like to go in and do the quick repair and get back out there. So I prep out the ships, go back, I do the round the outside, go instant repair, come back, do the inside, go instant repair, go do another target. And I'm talking about the 120, 121s with Inferno
Nice.
Dragons. So just before I started sharing, I did the outside of a 120, was normal. Well, it took 10 minutes on the flag, which is abnormal, but that's the new normal. But when I did the inside of the 120, 48 freaking minutes for just the inside of the 120 that half an hour ago was near instant repair. So I think they got their hands on the sliders again, and they're sticking it to us on the doggone on the 120s and 121s now. Hopefully I'm wrong, but that's what happened.
I wouldn't count on it. They're squeezing every which way they can to try and make their bottom line.
Yep. Well, I
It's
think what
definitely more
happened.
damage on
I
them
think
this
what
time.
happened since the start of the FM up until I started sharing, they tweaked it, and the damage went up. I'd be interested to know if others in the sides are experiencing the same problem, or if it's just me.
They're looking at the numbers. The FM
Yep.
started, and so far into the FM, they should have already had such a set amount, what they're used to receiving at that point, and it hasn't come in. They have not realized how many players they drove off this last raid.
I myself was near gone, especially when I heard they were pulling the 120 targets. And then I figured I'd give it a chance, and I was pleasantly surprised when the FM started. that it was back to being the way I used to, a little
For
bit
this
higher,
month.
the way it used to be. But
I
now
noticed the
it's like,
keywords they stated was for this month.
Yeah,
that's
that's
okay.
it's just they're not doing it now.
That's okay. They got me for another month then, because when they make these things undoable, I'm walking. I can't. I'm not giving them all kinds of money.
But that's the thing. They're watching the numbers and they're not pulling in the revenue that their goal, that their average is that they're used to getting. So they're adjusting on the fly to try and push it, so that they can make that bottom line. I understand they're a business, like
Absolutely.
but we've said this before. We're most of us were coiners. You know what I mean? And we coined because we enjoyed the game, not because they were trying to force us
Yeah.
so they could make up for their fuck ups.
Right.
They drove the players away. The reason why we've had so many players leave is because of their BS, not ours. The guys that are still here shouldn't be getting punished.
I in no way begrudge the company of trying to make a profit and paying their people good wages and living a good life. I have no problem with that at all. But I still say you can get a lot or a little from a lot and make a lot more than getting a lot from a few.
Well, it goes
And that's
all with all the
just
same thing.
crazy.
They are a business, and I think are a very ignorant one.
I agree.
In the sense that many people, myself included, used to spend a lot of money on this game, like a lot. And I was happy doing it. I had fun, went out, hit a bunch of bases, worked on my base constantly, had a great old time. And they've slowly but surely told me to stop doing that. Basically, they said that's a bad idea because you're going to spend your money, and then a week later it's going to be an utter waste. And I'm not
Okay.
talking about the old days where the flash stuff. Sorry. Hello.
No, I'm not
Are you
saying
back?
sorry.
Okay.
I just
Oh,
wanted you to expound on, like, what is it, the lack of, because I've been thinking about this and talking about this a little bit.
okay.
Is it the lack of sort of future knowledge, or is it the fact that all of a sudden they're going to flip on their head and they're just going to change things, and you
Yes,
don't get any notice about it?
that's a huge one for me.
Mhm.
I was starting to kind of spend a little bit last year, and it got my base up to where it was pretty strong, and it was enjoying it, and it wasn't unbeatable, but it was at least keeping a lot of people out, and it was fun. And I could spend a little and enjoy the game, so I was
Mhm.
more apt to spend more and build up my baser fleet, so I could go out and hit people, so they'd come hit me. And then Refactor came along, and they turned me into a farm, and they just didn't care like at all. They're like, yeah, I know you spent all that money, but we're just going to change everything.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even the fact that they changed it; it's that they completely upended everything. So then everything I'd done up until that point was useless. Not everything, but most things, because now it's a whole different. So that's all I mean is they've continually over the years reminded me that it's a bad idea to spend money with them,
Okay.
and eventually it worked. And I said, oh, right. So this is what you're doing. I'm going to, I give them like $10 a week, maybe. And I give more money for a Mountain Dew on the way to, a snack on the way to work every day. So they're below that in value.
Yeah.
And I,
But
and I
what I'm saying, what could they have done for you?
What could they
Let's
have
say they were
done?
going to make the same changes. How could they have improved on implementing those changes, as opposed, let's say they quote unquote
Well,
needed to do them? How
I
could they
don't
have
think
done
they
them
could have.
better to make
They
your
The issue
experience
wasn't the
better?
change. The issue was it really wasn't the change. It was that nothing was comparable. It was not even like the change completely upended the base armor values. They changed a mechanic within that as far as the weight of it and adding armor at one point because that
Hmm.
used to not affect it and suddenly it did, and just all of that. I don't know that I don't know that they could have because they've never been able to release anything functional. The first time, sometimes even the second time. They release it, they tinker with it, then they abandon it. That's their MO. So that's what happened to upgrades. That's what happened to retro, up until just this last week. But I'll go off in the weeds real quick with it. But for me, it was I really realized that they were going to undermine whatever I did. So if I wasn't going to coin right then and there to fix it, because it just seemed I was insulted, truthfully, and it's silly given it's just a game, but we've all spent a lot of time here. We've spent a lot of time in our bases and just with our friends and whatever, but there's a level of personal investment in it or whatever. And when somebody says, yeah, thank you for all your money and time and effort and support of our game, go to heck.
Give me more.
It's hard as
Well,
an
it's
intelligent
not giving
person to
more.
say,
It's they've negated what he's
yes,
spent time
yes,
and coins on, and
yes.
they've negated that. And there's, I mean, but yeah, if he knew it was going to happen earlier, if they gave
And if it
you
was done right,
some sort of compensation associated with it that was more in line with what actually happened to you, as
yes,
opposed to some script that ran across everybody
gave me
and
the
tried to
ability to
figure
fix it.
everything out.
Yeah, the ability to fix it to at least close, I would even have been fine. And if they had done it well, that was really the bigger issue, is that they did it so poor. I mean, you're deleting turrets, you're reducing levels of warehouses to fix your base. That is, to me, completely asinine. It goes against the logical way of playing a game. You want everything to be stronger and better, and you build it that way, and then suddenly you have to undo everything. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
I
I
don't
could rant for
disagree.
another hour.
No,
So.
no. I
Yeah.
like the rant because you're willing to also talk about things that would be, that would
Helpful.
have mollified what happened.
Sure. Yeah.
And that I think that's more important for people to know, and
Sure.
for people to communicate the kick side. Is not your issue specifically,
Just
but
yeah.
their own issues.
It was the main issue. Like I said, it was the balance of each individual part was completely upended, and it was virtually impossible to do it right. You had to do things that were illogical to fix, quote unquote. I'm doing air quotes that you can't see, but fix your base, and it just annoyed me. And then they just did it again, and now they just did it again, and now I just know they're going to keep doing it. So I'm not
Well,
even learning the new stuff. I'm like, why learn it? They're just going to change it.
well, I mean, okay. I think there's two different things going on there.
Yes.
From my understanding, the PvP refactor and this defense rating system / splash reduction, whatever.
Yeah.
Those aren't supposed to repeat for some, probably for the history, the upcoming, history, not history,
Sure.
but
Future.
the future of the game. But a thing like this quarterly thing that just happened recently, that's probably going to recur again.
Yeah. Sure.
But I mean, if they broke it down into smaller parts and communicated things better in the future and didn't drop it all on your lap at one, or drop it all on the player base all at once, would that have made you feel like you could keep up and it wasn't quote unquote overwhelming to you?
Possibly. But
if they did it well.
Again,
Right.
yeah, that's that comes back to the main issue. It wasn't just that they changed it, it's that they changed it poorly.
Okay.
And illogically, in my eyes. Maybe I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I've never built a game. What do I know? But I've played this one for 8 years or whatever it's been. So, and I was reasonably adept at it. So then suddenly I felt like a complete idiot. I'm like, why am I going to invest the time I used to into learning it all and figuring it all out just for it to, the proverbial rug to be pulled out from under your feet again,
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I've been, even though I started doing it years ago. I made a push to bring at least the whip back recently. Sure. and communication about more details of what's going to happen in the next month in the game, next month and a half in the game. Give us like names of stuff. Not the generalities that we've been getting recently with the CM diaries and the wrong thinker thinks. Something that's more tangible, that's actionable, that players can um, used to adjust to the game before it happens. I mean,
Sure.
some of it might be guesswork, and that's sort of that
But at least
figuring it
gives you
out
a
and
path.
strategy is sort of fun, I think, a little bit.
Well, this gives you a direction. It gives you a path, and you have kind of an idea of where you need to be going or something you might need to work on right now because it's coming. You know, yeah. But no, it's stuff's happening later.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy stuff.
Okay. Well, we can get onto that after we're done with the slides. If anybody wants to talk more about that, I'll open up the mic and or open up the panel, and anybody else can talk about it. But before I need to get another beer, I want to get through the rest of these slides because I only made like 12 of them. So we've already spent over an hour on the first couple. So
I came here to help your efficiency.
well, thank you, sir. No.
Well,
You
you're
have.
doing good.
I'm
You're
not.
doing
I'm
good.
not. I'm just.
I was kidding. But okay.
It's just. There's a lot of stuff been going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's. One more click.
I can do
I think
that.
it's Mike now.
Yeah.
All right. We have the Alloy Com 4 armor, even though the Ally Com 3 was just. I think it was just called Ally Com before, right?
I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. They gave it a number. If you put 1 or 2 on your ship, you're hacking. It's 20 hours, 21 hours basically.
That's a day.
What?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a day.
It's a day.
Yeah, it's a day.
It's 5 days. Okay. Sorry.
No, yeah, could be 5 days. It really depends on how
sorry.
you're going to build stuff, whether that's an issue or not, and whether it's necessary or not.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. Survivability
Personally, I had reinforced reactive armor on my Nemesis, and it worked out well for me because if you drive well enough, you avoid corrosive damage. But I'm thinking in the future, I'm because I never put Ally Com 3 on any of my stuff, because I just prefer the reinforced reactive. Just because if you drive well enough to avoid the corrosive, there's no reason to it. You know what I mean?
Yep. I think mine has the alloy on it.
I have the alloy armor.
Yours does. Yeah, yours does.
And I didn't drive well enough, so.
Yeah. So I've taken off the reinforced reactive off a couple. I don't think I'm going to take it off all of them just to sort of test it out.
Okay.
I might leave 1 or 2 just to test it out and figure out how they're performing relative to each other.
Yeah, so it doesn't affect your speed or anything, so you can do that pretty easily.
Yeah.
Cool.
But it's a definite, improvement over the Alloy Armor Com 3. So if you have the time, go ahead and,
Yeah, it's fairly significant for corrosive, isn't it?
Yeah.
4 and 11. It's about half an armor panel.
Yeah. So yeah, I would recommend this upgrade. Like I said earlier, if before the update, that's when I was stripping out everything. So I wouldn't have to pay the refit tax. But I don't know. It's 2.5 million in this raid. This is not limited. It's unlimited. So you just need to win this once, and you can put it on all your ships. So thoughts, same weight. It should work, interchangeably with whatever you put on before.
I'm happy it's not limited, and I'm happy I only have to put 1 on each ship. I'm not happy that I'm already doing refits on stuff I'm not even done with yet. That's getting a little tiresome. This 3-month raid cycle has created this monstrosity, and I don't know what. I mean, I know what they expect all the people to do is to perhaps coin it, but it's just craziness. Like as soon as I saw the release notes with it, I was like, "You're kidding me." So,
well, you only need to coin it if you're trying to build 2.
Yeah,
that's the only way I see it.
Or you're
buying, or you're out buying in the time limited offers. You're buying kits, upgrade kits. Otherwise, I don't think you need to coin this.
No,
because we're talking we're talking 5 days.
that's part of why I bought the deal, and went totally after, and otherwise just went totally after kits, and the other all the upgrade kits, because that's all I really wanted, because and the build tokens, because I'm like, this will give me enough time in the next month to finish my fleet. I should be able to get to U2 on hopefully everything, and then finish my flag with FM tokens, and then I can do refits with the remaining. So I think I'm set, but it's like I feel like somehow I'm going to mess something up here. It's going to screw me up, and I'm going to not quite. I'm like, oh, so, but
Yeah, I mean, slow build as much as you can. I don't, if
Yep.
you're not planning on building a second hall, and then, if things change, you could take advantage of having extra tokens around.
There you go.
There we go. Let's go to the next one, Mike.
And the old one was called Com3, by the way. I was wrong.
Okay.
I think he had a
Well, no, but I'm talking like weeks
The
ago.
original.
Still,
alloy armor.
I don't think until a couple of weeks ago it had a number associated. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The assault engine. This is also unlimited. I think it's also 2,500 or 2.5 million. I'm sorry. In the FM, it has the same speed as the and it's also retrofittable. On the left-hand side, you see the blueprint that's been provided by Kixeye in the forums, and then in the middle, you see it upgraded to R15 in my base, and then the penetrative resistors, which is the most comparable I could find on the right. The speed and turn speed and that speed all the same. You see an increase relative to penetrative resistors in survival, 711 versus 270. It does not have any evade, which is a little bit interesting. And the projectile speed and penetrating damage are both plus 10%.
If you put this on the Nemesis, for instance, though, that's pretty much shooting down everything but, well, mine were shooting everything down but the green thing. So that's going to get through anyway.
I'm confused at this point. Anybody
as far
else?
as the lack of evade being
It's lack of evade,
factor.
yeah.
Okay,
sorry, my bad.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I should have specified what I was talking about.
We'll get there.
Okay. Oh, yeah. This one's prize pool 4. Yeah, it's 600,000. I'm sorry, I was trying to compare it to the other ones afterwards. Yeah, it's only 600,000. So it's the cheap. It's tier 4. It's not the top of the line. It doesn't, projectile speed and penetrating damage. It's not like it's a stacking aura. It's only for that ship. So it is what it is. It is tier 4.
But do you think penetrative survival is better than evade, or evade's going to be better than penetrative survival?
It really depends on the accuracy of the weapons coming at you.
Yeah.
And I'm not planning. I'm not planning to equip this.
And it's slower.
No, not once it gets to R15.
If from the pen resistors, you got 86% versus 70.
Yeah, no. What he said is R15 goes up to 86.7 as well.
See the one in the middle?
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well,
so
let's go to the one.
As there's just real quick. It's the same as the pen resistors, and you get some evade. I'm trying to look at.
No, you don't get evade. You don't get.
No,
evade.
You have some evade with the pen resistors.
Yeah, you lose 15% evade.
Yep.
You gain 10% projectile speed, 10% penetrating damage, but you do gain 440 penetrating survival.
Okay, I was trying to look for a good reason not to switch because I think I have pen.
No, but I don't. You do the FM, so there's no real reason for you to switch to that. Okay. So let's move on to the ones that you might want to switch to. So let's click the button.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
All right, the pen defense engine. We see a definite increase in speed over both the pen resistor and the speed system 6. There's a little bit loss of evade, but 3% relative to Speed System 6. But Speed System 6 has no penetrating survival. So you compare it to the penetrative resistors, you're gaining 950 or so, and you're gaining 9 combat speed percentage. It seems like I'm
That
my
might be the way
plan
to go.
is I have the reinforced reactive armor. I'm going to I'm planning to take most of those off, like I said, add in the Alicom 4 and put this on my Nemesis X in combination with the new armor. And I think that will all balance out and escalate the performance of my ship.
Just the NMX? Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't have Saturn.
Thinking Arch. I'm thinking Arch. No, never mind.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah. So,
Yeah, that looks a lot better.
Yeah.
I'd probably be changing that.
But this is the one that we can only get 2 per week, right? So there's enough time to do it before the next raid.
yeah, you can get 6 before the next week.
Yeah, okay. So not a huge problem.
Yeah, and you'll see it'll, in case anybody can't get enough, it'll match the speed of the slowest in the fleet. Normally, this appears to impact both combat and turn speed. So it'll sync everything up. I wish we had something like this in the first raid because I was afraid to put my arch nemesis out and at like a half built on rank condition because we didn't have that. So, but I'm hoping it will be better in the future. So one more click because everybody else, there's some people that built with Strike System 5. It is slower. But there's all sorts of issues in my book with Strike System 5, dealing from the lack of retargetable to not being as good as far as a missile extension special, to the turn speed. Take a look at the turn speed. Yeah, it's I wasn't a fan of the Strike System 5 in the beginning. I'm not sure how many people were, but it is what it is. I just wanted to throw it out there for comparison to everybody.
Yep.
Thoughts?
No, it looks like that's the way to go.
Yep. Canon, Aussie?
No, I had Speed System 6 on mine, so
I won't be picking it up most likely because I don't want to do that much FM and I don't have Nemis. So
I'll be getting that one.
They got a similar one for the.
And you click the button. We'll talk about that one next.
That's what I figured you were doing. So I was not.
There you go.
All right, the corrosive Cinco drive.
Cinco
pretty much the same thing.
Same thing, only different.
Yep. Yep. It's so the people with the Saturns. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, obviously the survival part, if in fact it's doing anything, will be nice. The evade bonus, I have corrosive resistors on there now, so it'll be a little faster and hopefully survive better. So
speed would have helped me in this last raid. I'll guarantee you that.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see how much the speed really. I mean, it'll definitely help because some of them are a little tricky to catch up with. Once they kind of get away from you, I'm like, come back here, you little heifer.
On the 83, when I wanted to go up to the top cloud there, I would trigger the ghost crawler, get back into the cloud so it would turn around and start going back, and then I'd head for the top, and then I was able to do it without getting shot at.
I had a helpless flag, so I would park 3 ships by the stuff I knew was going to trigger, and then go down to the thing and open it with 1, and then come back. But so,
okay. Yeah, there's not much more to say about this one because it's basically the same thing, just a slightly different flavor. I think I might have included one more. I think I put the strike system in there, even though because I have corrosive resistors on my Nemesis, but
Sure.
that's because the way I built it with the
Without the comm
reinforced reactive.
Yeah.
So just to balance things out, just
Sure.
in case.
But yeah, I would
All right.
definitely say get these, every bit you can, because every survival, they add, they're going to tune into the targets, that. So
Yeah, and as a reminder, back to a show we did 2 weeks ago. You're on tier 8. You take the survival number, divide it by 64, and that's your percentage increase. So, and that gets, that's a whole other story. Watch that show. I confused a lot of people at that point in time, but I don't think it was my fault. I think it was Kickstarter's fault. So,
how do you get Celsius for that number, though? That's
yes. Well, yeah, it's you in this case you need to derive Kelvin before you get Celsius, but that's a whole different issue. Let's
is a
go.
protractor helpful?
I don't know. I just have an
Sorry.
abacus.
Let's go on to the next one. Sorry.
Let's go.
If we're having a major storm here, so if I lose power, I'll be gone. So.
Okay. All right. This is the last slide. There's been no announcement as far as how you're supposed to get these kits, but there are mandatory upgrades in your shipyard. There's no way to do them. At this point in time, they haven't released the kits associated with them, but they're out there. They're pretty powerful. I just hope there's tokens in addition to the kits, because the people running mana cores shouldn't be spending they shouldn't be spending 11 days per ship upgrading their mana cores to U3. They should probably be better off building a Nemesis.
Yeah.
Or, some people might say Saturn with that build time. So
yeah, you can only hope that they'll make it, viable for people to be able to be a little more competitive with old crap, So
yeah,
so that means they won't.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one where people have been pushing. Oh, you should put this in the retrofit lab and da da da. And I'm like, yeah, with the older stuff, I could see putting in the retrofit lab.
Yeah.
And so it's not interfering with them upgrading the rest of their stuff. So I'm going to
as older stuff, right?
What?
This qualifies as older stuff, right?
Well,
yes,
this is
very much
generation
so.
behind.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just clarifying for myself.
Well, we're talking about you as well, Mike.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I could use some.
Though eventually it's going to be a tier 9. It's going to upgrade to tier 9 magically later for no reason. Just so
Yeah.
Keep up with high velocity.
Okay. Well, I think that's the last slide. I think the last one's the end of slides. Am I correct?
Yes, and if you will take me off present before I stop sharing, then
Oh, okay. You don't want me to take you off present.
I do want you to take me off present before I stop sharing, because I have some.
He's got all his bank records out there.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of doing some paperwork, and I don't need
paperwork. Is that what we're calling it now? Paperwork. Right.
Everybody to see how poor I am.
Wink, wink. Paperwork. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to see it, fine. You'll laugh your ass off, but
fine.
Yeah.
I know that's fine.
I posted the link in case anybody wants to join the show at this point, or if you want to join us for the after show.
Tits or titanium, Ren?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So in case anybody would like to join, again, we've gone to the half hour where I need to get another beer. I can end the show now, or if nobody wants to join for the live show, I can proceed to the after show. Oh, Ben's joined.
Hey, Ben.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Ben.
Howdy, Ben.
How has your experience been going?
I've seen a few of his posts lately.
Let's put it this way. I know someone at Kicks High is a Maple Leafs fan. I'm rooting for the Bruins.
Yeah, well, you have to.
All right.
I don't watch
Well, you
hockey, so
don't
that does
have
nothing
to.
for me.
Oh, you don't know what you're missing, dude.
Sure, I do. Hockey.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I
All
don't
right.
watch sports in general.
So,
Good.
Ben, you've been doing. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say good show tonight, guys.
I think we're still on the show, so
Yeah.
just to clarify.
Yeah.
So you're part of the good show. I
Yeah.
think the best part, the greatest addition.
I don't know about that.
Well, we always save the best for last.
All right. Oh,
Don't know what to
I-
do with that, do you?
I
So,
am.
what during the show have you been doing the FM?
Yes.
Has it been ticking up, or am I crazy?
You're crazy.
I
Thank
take a
you.
Both.
hell of a lot more damage from the middle. than
Yeah,
from the thing.
I mean,
Are
like,
those mutually exclusive, Mike?
yeah, it could be. I mean, I was taking like 3 minutes a ship, except for the flag, which was probably I think was like 6 or 8 minutes for the interior of a 120, just the inside loop. Just before the show started, my regular Infernos were taking over 8 minutes damage, and I think it was like 14 minutes on the Inferno, and the Gretas, and just the interior of a 120. That's how much it changed in 15 minutes. And I wanted to know if I was right, wrong, or just I did something wrong.
No, you're right.
All right, fuck them. I'm sorry.
Well, you
We'll
all know
start.
that I use a Greta and I use monos. I can
Yes.
usually do the inside instant map repair
Mm,
on the Greta only. That's all that gets damaged. This I did one just now, 19 minutes damage just on the inside on the Greta only.
and
And I used to do them instant map repair.
and your monos didn't. I've reverted back to icebreakers in the 111s.
Yeah.
So have I.
Now my monos don't take any damage as long as I don't stuff up.
They can kiss me where the sun don't frickin' shine if they're going to keep doing this kind of crap and expect me to keep my wallet open. I won't do it. Sorry. I won't be playing the game if they keep doing this crap. No, I didn't. We are still live. I don't give a shit. I didn't coin. I've been off the coin wagon since last November because I'm not sure if that's when the guaranteed damage started coming in, but I said I'll be crooked if I'm going to go and spend all this money on building ships that I can do things for relatively low repair that I can wait for. And when they started with this guaranteed damage and all that bullshit, I said, enough of this. I'm not doing it anymore. Forget it. Well, I don't think I spent anything between November and this last super deal that they had, which I did buy, and I'm now regretting it. And if I have some coins some gold in my account, but they're all from tickets because of screw ups. And when that's gone, I'm sorry, but if this shit continues, you guys won't have to listen to me anymore.
All right.
It's just
I'm
it's
a-
frustrating as hell because I
Oh, sure.
didn't mind. I used to be like, I'm gonna be a $50 a month guy. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's high, low,
Well, that's not-
average, what. But it used to be like $50 a month. I can't see doing it. And I used to spend it on deals when they would put out I would spend most of my coins on making sure my ships were, with help from others, were done acceptable enough that I could go and do a target for very low damage and save on the repair time. So I was buying tokens when they were discounted, like every day. If they came out with a 25, 30% off token, I'd buy that darn thing, and I'd get those ships as good as possible so I could do raids for next to nothing, admittedly. I did very well in the sector. Not that I care about where I ended up, but I was doing very well. But when the guaranteed damage came out and the token stuffs went away, the token deals went away, and I can't build a stupid ship that I can survive with, I don't see the point. It's just like chasing my tail, and I can't do that, and I won't do that. and I like the game. I like the people more, but
Well,
screw it.
you'd like okay.
Screw it. I don't know if you heard that whole rant.
I know, Mike. Well, I've heard the last part.
Okay.
I just know that Mike loves the part of the raid cycle where he can own everybody.
No, that's not true.
Well,
I don't strive to be high on the leaderboard. I don't.
no. But I'm not. No, I didn't mean everybody. I meant the kicksite targets.
Okay. That yes.
Yeah, then you're willing to sit on your ass for days
Hours.
on end.
Right.
Yes. So it's
has nothing to do with other players. I don't. You know.
No. I meant
you got it right. You got it right.
Yeah, and so it's there's ebbs and flows with that, as we all know. So because you got like what was the one where you got more points than
Oh, 2 raids back, I think I had
yeah,
way more than I needed.
Yeah. So all right, I'm gonna does anybody have any parting words? Paul, did you talk while I was getting a beer? Anything you want to
No,
say?
actually, I didn't. I was listening to everybody else. I'm trying
do-
to keep my wife off the mic.
Okay. All right. Well, unless she's got one of those voices,
The only thing I gotta say is, ever since that last update, not this last one, but the one before that, even if I had Inferno Dragons, I'd stick with 111s.
Oh, you're talking about them before 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they really
because I mean, when they did that update and we had the half repair, I was getting a minute 30 damage doing a 111 with my icebreakers.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm getting like 330. So I'm like, why would I take damage, give them money, basically let them win when I can just do it for free?
Yeah, there's different ways you can do it. Like right before the show, I spent a half an hour. I got 3.6 million points, and I had like 3 hours of repair, which is going to be an hour and a half by the time that or probably an hour by the time I'm done. So I spent a half an hour, got 3.6 million points, and I'm like, I have enough for basically I'm 100,000 shy of getting one and securing the tokens. I can do the same. I can go out, take that same fleet out, hit it for it was less than a quarter damaged. I could go out and get a ton of points afterwards if I wanted to, and then repair it overnight. So I'm not. You're a little bit like Mike. He's afraid to have a little, have some damage on his ships. I don't mind.
I actually have like 2 Inferno Dragons. So what I'll do is I'll hit 4 114s with those 2, let them die, and then I'll repair them overnight, and then continue with the 111s with my icebreakers. That way I get 1.4 mil with my Inferno Dragons and just get the rest with my icebreakers. Then tomorrow morning I'll just repeat the thing, go to work, come back.
Yeah, like I said, but I could have spent. I don't know. Well, Ren's doing the show. Before we go off, Ren, you have anything you'd like to say on the live show?
Other than Mike's full of shit?
No, I'm not saying you're full of shit. I'm just trying to, clarify, because some people get,
It's just my style. I mean, it's the way I've always played it.
Go ahead, Ren. I do have something that I found they snuck in probably this last update. You cannot attack subs on the map because you can't light them up, right? Well, now the Basilisk will light up subs on the map.
Wait, what?
The Basilisk will spot phantom subs on the map.
Like the
Harlock Tideseeker. I have no experience with this.
It does
take this information as you will.
It does the same thing as the Harlock Tideseeker.
Really?
Yep.
Is that got to be the flag?
Yes, it has to be in the flag position.
Okay.
Have you noticed any change in the blueprint or any notification in there?
Yes. In the what's it called? The bottom.
Flavor text? Is that what they call that?
Yeah, because this could be
Special
interesting.
abilities.
I'm pulling.
If you could isolate it and if you don't mind screen sharing it, that would be cool. Because
Yeah, it does. I'm just looking now. Special abilities reveal submarines on the world map.
okay,
Well,
I'm
that
on a different.
explains why they took the Harlock out of being able to go in with a PvP fleet.
okay.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
Wow.
on a different. I'm on a different computer for my game, so I can't screen share it.
No, it's okay. Okay. So
All someone's going to do is bring up the blueprint.
I could probably do it if in a minute if you want. Like this. You
yeah,
want it on your
yeah.
screen? Hold on.
Well, it'd be good for people,
Well, hold on.
to
Hold on
see
a
it.
sec. Hold on a sec. I got to get in my base.
Okay.
That's very interesting.
Hmm.
It's interesting.
Spinning wheel.
Hmm.
Okay, I guess
I'm
the easiest way is to do it.
pulling up the Basilisk now.
Are you gonna screen share it or?
Well, I have
Yeah.
to do it from my
Okay, I'll get it. I'll get it.
because I have all mine built.
I just have to find it now.
Well, it doesn't matter. You can still go in. You can go into your dock shipyard and bring up one anyway
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Coming
if you
coming
want
right
to.
up. Coming right up.
Okay.
You got it, Mike?
I do.
All right.
Okay. I just put Mike on present, and I guess we need to go down to the bottom to special abilities.
Yeah.
But last line.
Scroll
Okay.
down. There it is. There.
I can't read it on this one. Could you read out
Uh,
loud?
It says reveals submarines on the world map.
Yep.
Okay. There we go. So yeah, we have our new Harlock Tideseeker.
Yep.
So that's all good. Now we have yeah, that's interesting. I don't think it showed up anywhere in the announcement, did it?
No.
No, that was not in the announcement.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of things don't make it there, but
But yeah, like all the stuff they're gonna break that time, that never shows up.
yeah. That would be a funny announcement. 'Cause
When
sometimes
did we
I've
get the
seen some of these
basilisk?
bug fixes, and I'm like, is this a promise or a threat with the bug fixes? Because they're all written about things that are wrong that they're going to negate. But yeah, I know what you mean. But it would be hilarious if they put something out. Yeah, in this next update, we're gonna break this and this and this. These all these things will be broken. And now, I think the player community would actually like it if they actually made that announcement. If they knew that these things were actually going to happen, I would find that hilarious, and a bit of vulnerable honesty associated with them, because sometimes they know they're going to break stuff. So if we don't have anything else, I'm going to post the link one last time, and we can go to the after show. We've been going for an hour and 45 minutes. I only get paid for the first 5 minutes, so so I don't get paid for any of it. But I'm just,
I guess Ren tried. He had some technical difficulties. He could only hear me, unfortunately.
yeah, that's enough that he would drop off Hangouts. So
I
yeah,
don't
that's
blame him.
perfectly
I
understandable.
can't blame him.
So okay, well, Ren, you could try it again. I would. Sometimes I reload the Hangouts in order to get things like that taken care of. But you're welcome to join. And see you all on Friday, where we hopefully will have more good stuff for everybody. So, good night, people.
Night.
All
Good night,
right.
everybody.